to talk about this topic today, how to build a business budget, because it's so crucial, especially as we look into the new year. We haven't ever done this before, and you're at the end of 2022 and you're like, never done a business budget. I haven't ever put one of those together before. I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, or every business budget that I put together never really is something that I stick to. This is going to be a really great just refresher. We're going to go over a lot of good, yummy things. I'm going to walk you through a mock budget that we'll work through and leave ample amount of time for Q&A at the end of this is my deep hope and desire. So if you can go ahead and get nice and cozy, I think I will give it just one more minute. But would love to kind of get to know you all. If you have, if you want to work towards that chat box feature, introduce yourself, let me know why you're here. Those are going to come up here in a couple of slides while I'll be requesting it. But since we're all just here waiting, kind of getting comfy, would love to start to get to know you all, because I see some faces that I know, but definitely some names at least that I've never seen before. So that's really exciting. So if you want to pop over in that chat box, let me know who you are, why you showed up today, what you're hoping to get out of this hour together. I would love that. Good to know you all. I'm Priscilla, by the way. I realize my name is not on there. It says Forward Female, but I'm Priscilla. I'm one of the co-founders. I'm a business development coach here at Forward Female, and really love talking about money, honey. I wore my green for you today. Like, this is on purpose. So it's a little about me. I would love to see y'all in the chat box. Getting going there. And I'm going to drink some water before I can't anymore. All righty. I'm going to pull up this Miracle. Wow. Awesome name. I'm currently starting a short-term rental business in Raleigh. Ooh, I love that. You should message with Lauren here that's on the call. And just want to make sure I'm creating an efficient budget plan. I love that. Felicia here. I know Felicia. Company is Get a Room Productions, a tour management and management company. Hoping to get an assistant in a few months, so trying to figure out how to budget for that. Happy to be here. Yep. Amen. Let's put the plan in place before we just start putting expenses. Awesome. Hello everybody. I'm creator of Healed Body, an all natural skincare line. Oh, wow, it's so cool. Megan, happy Together Dogs. I'm such a dog lover. Here to learn more about budgeting to help feel stronger about my business money. That's what it's all about. Confidence, baby. Aaliyah, my love. Styled Stories, a professional organizing business. Just want to learn how to budget better. We can always get better, right? It's all about wanting to learn more. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so we are ready to go ahead and get started. Keep going over there and introducing yourself. This is, if anything you get today, let's network. Let's meet some other like-minded humans that you all showed up here. You all are like-minded and want something that's very similar. So might as well connect and grow together. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and dive right on in, since we kind of started getting through some of this early. It'll just be a good little refresher. So a few things to remember: to turn off your mics just for now, unless I call on you. It just helps us kind of keep everything streamlined here. Turn on your cameras if possible. I love seeing beautiful faces and energy. I'm such an energy person. So if that's possible, I would love to see your face. Stay active in that chat box. Like I said, get to know other people here today. Don't just show up and put me on in the background just to say that you did it. Like, show up and really show up. Take action from today. Meet other human beings. and do something with this. Otherwise, like, it's not going to serve you. So just that little reminder. And I also just want to let you know that this is such a safe and yummy space that there is no judgment here at all. We are all here to learn something. We all have something to learn, and we all have something to gain here, including myself. So just want to let you know it's a safe space. If at any time you feel like it's not, just let us know, and we'll take care of it. Alrighty. So drop in the chat if you haven't already. I love that the chat is like blowing up, to introduce yourself and what your goals are out of this time together. Really kind of want to get a pulse on like, what is everybody really here for? So I can maybe tailor some of the topics or go over something a little bit more in depth if possible. So Gabby is our lovely head of marketing here at Forward Female. So she's going to be kind of helping manage the chat today and give you all the goodies that you need. Gab, anything to note out of the chat box that I haven't seen already?
Well, lots of people connecting and exchanging information already. So we love to see the collaboration. Caitlin said she lives in Santa Monica. She's been in tech for 10 years and is searching for a job. So just wanting to feel more comfortable budgeting, business budgeting, and is connecting with everyone on LinkedIn. Martina owns Brow Bar in Minneapolis and is currently working on their second business. Knows how to make money, but knows how to spend it. I can relate. And so she knows that it's key to run a successful business, to know how to budget. So yeah.
Love it. Oh, woof. That is the hard one. Whenever we start looking at the expenses that are going out and we're like, wait a second, something's not adding up here. We want to see the bank account adding up, right? Not the expenses. Alrighty, so sounds good. Seems like a lot of good stuff going on there. So while y'all continue to connect, I'll just introduce myself for those that don't know me already. So I'm Priscilla. Like I said, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Forward Female. And I'm our senior business development coach. So really where my specialty lies is I work one-on-one with new entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that have been in business for a minute, but looking to kind of take it up a notch to kind of get to the next level, and really needing that strategy and that support and that guidance and accountability to get there. So it's like the best job ever. I love what I get to do. And so that's just like, if I introduce myself, that's like the best thing I'm most proud of. I've supported over 150 entrepreneurs to either start or grow their businesses since 2019, when I left my corporate jobs to go full-time into owning my own business too. I've worked for some incredible companies like Bumble, Red Bull, Warner Brothers, and I've executed millions of dollars in partnerships. I love when money comes in. I love revenue. So I love seeing how we can execute more and more. What else? And business and planning and supporting entrepreneurs is just my happy place. It's my passion to help women get to where they want to be too. And a lot of that starts with finances. Now, I will say what I am not. I am not a financial expert. I am not a tax accountant. I am not your bookkeeper, but I am passionate about you having the knowledge to go into those conversations with confidence, right? It's just about that knowledge. It's about knowing the terms. It's about knowing what to look at, what numbers to question, to where whenever you bring different things onto your team, like a bookkeeper, a tax accountant, a financial advisor, you know how to take charge of those conversations too. Because woof, have I been in situations where I just hired people and thought that they had my best interest at heart, but they just so did not. They didn't care as deeply about my business and my passions as much as I did. And so I kind of was in the dark when it came to the numbers. And I recognized that, and I switched things around immediately, and I educated myself, which is what we're going to do here today together. Okay. So just a little bit about me. So now what we're going to cover today is financial terms just to be familiar with. We're not going to get too in depth. You might know these already, but it'll just be a good little refresher, and to understand kind of the terms that are going to be slung around here today. If you have any questions at all, always throw them in the chat box. Gabby will ping me and I'll try to go a little bit more in depth. Okay. I'm going to help you understand your business expenses, and that just comes with awareness. Help you identify your revenue streams. So how are we going to make sure that we at least break even, and then how we're going to make a profit? I want you to be more confident in your financial goals. So saying, I'm going to make $100,000. I want to make $1 million. I want to make $50 million. Whatever that goal is, I want you to be confident in that and understanding how you can get there. Now, it's understanding the goal first, to where then we can build the mechanism in order to help you reach that financial goal too, right? What you're offering right now might not be able to support what that financial goal is, and that might be some things that we need to fix. I'm going to help you build a business budget. I promise it's not as daunting as it seems. It's pretty simple. So I'm going to walk you through just like a simple spreadsheet that I built, that I am happy to give anybody here today if you send me a message, that we'll walk through too, so you can have that if you don't walk away with anything else. Okay, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end depending on how far we get, but I will have just a hard out at 11 o'clock to respect everybody's time as well, Pacific Standard Time, depending on where you're at in the world. 45 minutes from now. Okie dokie. Sound groovy? Let's go, baby. Alrighty. So I want you to raise your little virtual hand, or raise your hand if you're like, what's a budget? I've never done a budget before. I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. I've been there before. It's totally cool. I just want to know I want to gauge where we are at here. And please be honest. You can put it over in the chat box. I just want to kind of see. Are you these two guys? They're like, what the heck is going on? Nobody. Everybody has built a budget. Am I going into that assumption right? I know what a budget is. Do I follow it? Absolutely not. Okay. I love the honesty. Not me. Don't know what a budget can I talk? A business budget is. Same as Aaliyah. Yep, never done it. Staying consistent with it has been the issue. Okay, sounds good. Awareness. Awareness is so good. Heck no, my budget is not existent. Okay, alrighty. Well, then we are all in this together. Let's go ahead. I built a budget, but there's always a surprise. We never want to be surprised, right? And whenever we're staying on top of it, we won't be. Alrighty, so I just wanted to give some time to share in case anybody wanted to, but it seems like everybody's doing that over in the chat box. So I love it. I love the honesty. I love it's such a safe space where, like, let's all just be real. Sometimes we want to look like we have it all buttoned up and we're perfect and we're such like a business badass, which like you so are, but it's okay to like want to learn and want to like explore these different things. That's why you're here. All right. So the questions that I want you to ask yourself and answer in the chat box here in order to continue to create this safe space and awareness of that you're not in this alone, or where everybody else are in this too, is if you've ever just built a budget before. Just say yes or no. Have you built a budget before? Put that in the chat box. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we built one before. We have awareness. No. Cool. Okay. Sounds good. What is your biggest fear when it comes to budgeting? Go ahead and drop that in the chat. What's the biggest fear when it comes to budgeting, when it comes to your finances? Limiting, sticking to it. I don't know how to use it. Okay. Wow, y'all are like, I love this group today. Y'all are like on it. This is awesome. A lack of awareness on what I need to pay for, so I don't know what budgeting for. Every day is a new learning experience, that I'm missing something obvious and I'll be out of my pocket. Accountability, not enough revenue, knowing that you can't afford something at that moment. Ugh, that like restraint. Oh, it's so hard sometimes. Alrighty. What are your financial goals for your business in 2023? Ooh, confidently say what it is. What are your financial goals for 2023? 50K, love it. Yes, baby. 100K, yes. 50K, yes. Consistent 10K monthly, yes. 2x revenue growth and reducing expenses, yep. 60K, yes. Ooh, consistent 10K monthly, look, oh, see, we're impacting each other, we're rubbing off, right? Whenever you speak it out, you help somebody else elevate. Love it. 300K, yes, love it. All right. Consistently investing into my business. Yeah, making those smart investments. Love it. 100K and consistency. Yes. Awesome. Wow, this is so awesome and yummy. I can't get over it. Making enough money to pay myself. Ooh, yep. Got to pay ourselves. We got to pay ourselves first, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur. You are the business, baby, right? If you are not paying yourself, I hate to break it to you, but if we don't have a plan to do that, we got a really fun, expensive hobby. Alrighty? Same consistency, receiving 10K per month as well. All right. Groovy. This is awesome, guys. Alrighty. So what I want for all of you is this like Kim K moment. I want you to have the money that you can just spend and invest and grow your business beyond your wildest dreams. So now we're going to talk about some financial terms that we're going to be throwing around today that if these have never been exposed to you, I want you to be exposed to them today. Whenever I first started my business, somebody asked me what were like my OpEx and my CapEx and all of these different things. And I just froze. I was like, I don't know. And I felt so silly because I felt like I should know. And you might be in that same space today and it's totally good, but it took some time for me to go to my good friend Google and say, what the heck is that? And how do I know what that is? So financial terms, there's going to be some things that we're going to look at whenever we look at our business budget. I'm going to be saying words like fixed cost and variable cost. So there's a difference between those two. Fixed cost are costs you may pay, you must pay whether your business is doing well or not. Expenses such as utilities, rent, employee salaries that are considered fixed cost. So these are the things that are consistently the same amount every single month that you have to have in place in order for your business to operate. Okay. Then we have things like variable costs, which probably need to happen on a monthly or yearly basis too, but they kind of fluctuate depending on how business is doing. So variable costs are expenses that fluctuate based on the volume of your business. They'll include things like shipping, maybe commissions or supplies, hourly wages, different things that go up and down based on how business is doing. Sometimes maybe a marketing expense, a marketing portion of your budget can be a variable cost. Maybe you're putting money into Instagram ads or Facebook ads, and it's different every single month, depending on something that you're pushing that month, or you have a big marketing campaign coming up, something like that. Gross and net profit. Gross refers to the total amount before deductions or expenses. So the gross of everything that you're making. Net revenue refers to the amount or quantity after deductions and expenses. Okay. So somebody explained it to me one time, like gross is like all of the stuff that you make, like all the gross stuff if you're taking everything like from the ocean or something like that. And then if you get a net and sift out everything else, and whatever is left is your net revenue. That's like a good visual that's always stuck with me if you get confused between gross revenue and net revenue. Okay. Alrighty, just a couple more. Return on investment. If you've ever heard the term ROI, that's what it means. So return on investment is a ratio measuring performance efficiency relative to how much a company spent on investments. Calculate ROI by dividing net profit from the investment. Right, so it's a big fancy way of explaining it that if you're going to find whenever you Google it, essentially, which is what I put here. But whenever you think of ROI, you think of, if I'm going to invest in something, what can I expect in return? I heard somebody saying like the idea of like, I want to invest more in my business, but understanding whenever you're investing in your business, whether that's time, energy, effort, money, what are you expecting in return? And how are you going to quantify if that was successful ROI or not, which comes into another term, which isn't in here, but a KPI. So a key performance indicator, I believe is the term, essentially, which is that key performance indicator means that you had a positive, good ROI that you deem as successful. All right. So you have to know if you are going to invest something, what are you expecting in return? So cash flow. This is something that I see a lot of businesses struggling with, or entrepreneurs struggling with, right? You are making revenue, but maybe your cash flow isn't consistent. So it's hard to understand when you can invest in something or when you should invest in something versus when you should maybe like hold off, right? And these are financial decisions that we have to make in order to make sure our business stays afloat and we can pay all of those fixed costs that we have every single month, right? So sometimes you can, let's say that you have a service that goes over a 6-month period of time, right? And whenever you sign that contract, the contract is worth $10,000, but it's in payment terms over the 6 months, right? So your cash flow, your sales you hit that month were $6,000, but that doesn't mean you get cash flow of $6,000 that month. You need to understand what is coming in your business so you can understand how to budget properly month over month. So let's look at the term that Google brought us here. Cash flow is a measurement of the amount of cash generated or lost through a business's operations. It's different than the net profit, as net profit includes non-cash expenses such as depreciations. So this is something whenever you talk to your tax person at the end of the year or your bookkeeper at the end of every month, they're going to ask if you have like liabilities or if you have different valuables in your business. There's a different word for it. I just can't think of it right now, that are depreciating, which makes your net profit change. Exclude some cash, such as capital expenditures, new equipment, or repayment, outstanding debt, etc. So cash flow is something that you want to be aware of. So let's say that you have an inventory business that you need to buy inventory for. You need to understand what cash flow you have in order to reinvest in more inventory in order to create more profits at the end of the day. The statement that you should all be looking at, right, if we're looking at our business budget, if we're looking at our finances, is what a lot of people call like a P&L, which is your profit and loss statement. So this is where you can see all of those expenses and all of your revenue coming in month over month, hopefully year over year, and understand how your business is doing financially and what your business has profited for the year or where you're at for the month. Alrighty. All right, that was a lot of information. That was a lot of terms. Any questions? How are we feeling? Groovy. So groovy. So helpful. Love it, Lex. Love that energy. All righty, so sounds good. I'm going to move and groove to the next slide. So these are going to be some questions as we get into budgeting that I want you to ask yourself, okay? Am I ready to commit to an ongoing financial system for my business? First thing, right? Do I have that commitment level? Because this can't be something that we just put in place and we set aside and just expect it to do its thing, right? You have to have the awareness. You need to have a system. I'm going to show you some systems today, but hey, if those systems aren't your systems, all good, but have something that you can rely on. What do I need my bookkeeping to help me with? What am I struggling with? Is it that cash flow? Is it understanding where all my money's going? Is it understanding, is my business profitable? What revenue stream is the most profitable revenue stream for me? So, or maybe I should focus more of my marketing efforts there. What day am I willing to commit to financial prep? Now, whenever we think of financial planning for our business, I am kind of a psychopath when it comes to my money. I look at my bank account every single morning to where I am hyper aware of every single penny that is coming in. I am working my ass off. So you better bet if one penny is out of place, something's going down, because I need to know exactly what's happening in my business so that I can be aware of where we can invest. Where can I invest more into my employees? Where can I invest more into my business? Where can I invest to grow? Maybe I can up our marketing budget and get more clients in that way. Maybe I see that we need some more cash flow going on. And so in my team meeting on Monday, I'm going to say, hey team, this is where we got to change some things. This is where we're going to focus going into, because I know that my financial goals are, I want to make $1 million in 2023. So this means that we got to shift a few things in order for us to get there. I know how we're going to get there, but this is how we're going to do it, because I know exactly where we are financially. Okay. How do my finances get put into my system? So whatever system that we choose, I'm going to show you I'm going to show you two different options today that I really believe in. I've done in both. And it goes into how much money do we have to put into a system that we use. Money and time is really what we're looking at. So we're going to look at, are you committed to like manually doing this thing? Or do you not have the time and you need some automation? Okay. And then so we'll look at those two different options that we have. Okay. Extra groovy. Wow. I love Caitlin so much. Perfect. So these are the two systems that we're going to look at today. So literally Google, pretty much free. Google Sheets is what we're going to look at, where you can put something like this in Excel if you really want to. But this system really takes your time to set up and to keep going. But if you don't have any extra cash flowing around, you're like, sell my cash flow. I know what it looks like, girl. And it is not there. I do not have an extra $30 to spend every single month on something like QuickBooks. Then I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do that today. It's not automated, but so you have to have the time to invest into it. QuickBooks is something that I converted over to whenever I knew that cash flow was there in order to commit to something. I use QuickBooks Live Bookkeeping. We have a live bookkeeper through QuickBooks that I love. I'm obsessed with. I don't have to do anything besides give her statements, and it's done for me every single month. But I worked up to that, to be honest, right? I started in Google. I started in the sheets that I'm going to show you today, and then worked my way up to QuickBooks. QuickBooks, there's ways, even if you don't get the bookkeeper, that you can automate it to where their automatic expenses are automatically coming in. You're able to set budgeting and stuff throughout there to where it really is working for you. So these are the two different systems. Do you think QuickBooks is a lot better than FreshBooks? To be honest, I really haven't used FreshBooks. I've heard good things about FreshBooks. What I really loved about QuickBooks is it integrates. I'm all about integrations. I'm all about automations. And QuickBooks has a ton of integrations with all of the different systems that we use in our business, to where it made it really easy for me to kind of integrate that into our business. I've heard really great things about FreshBooks too, but I don't have personal experience with it. There's a lot of different systems out there, right? These are just 2 systems that are my favorites. But like I said, you have to choose the one that's right for you and for your business. How easy was it to migrate from Google to QuickBooks? Honestly, it was kind of a pain in the ass, but it worked. And it was essential for us to get the bookkeeper just with my time. I look at my time as super, super valuable. My time is my money. So if it was going to take me forever to do it myself, and I could make 3 times the amount of money than it would take me to sit there and figure it out, just to do it. I understand it, but I hired somebody $500 to like do it all for me. But I had to do a lot of back prep work on like financial statements and integrating our different accounts into it, because we have a lot of different revenue streams that flow into our accounts. Cool. Alrighty. Oh, somebody loves QuickBooks. We love it. QuickBook fan club over here. Let's start it. Alrighty. So steps that we're going to look at. Okay. I'm going to take a little sippy of water. Okay. So the steps that we want to look at here whenever we are looking at building a business budget. Okay. We want to, and this is what I typically walk my clients through whenever we're looking at budgeting. First, before we even open up the spreadsheet, you need to have a really clear understanding of what your offerings are. What are the things that you have on the table that are revenue streams for you, right? What do we have? What can we offer in our business? I am a personal fan of a lot of different types of revenue streams and not just solely relying on one. However, whenever you're getting started, you need to have a core foundational revenue stream that you can rely on, and then you build on top of it from there. If you try to start with 27,000 revenue streams, you're going to get really overwhelmed. You're going to really spread yourself too thin, and you're not going to see a lot of traction, typically, unless you get lucky, from one individual one. It's going to be hard. So let's identify your offerings first. Then I want you to identify the expenses that you're going to have in order to run a business with those offerings. So let's say it's a product-based business, then you might need to, you're going to have a lot of expenses when it comes to inventory, when it comes to shipping, when it comes to all of those sort of things. Let's say it's a service-based business. Let's say you're just doing Zoom calls all day. That's a lot of what I do. So I don't have a lot of expenses that are absolutely necessary in order for me to run that business. I need a really awesome Zoom account. I need my HoneyBook that I use. I need a couple different things and systems in order for it to run smoothly. But I'm really aware of what those things are. And maybe let's say you go to clients' houses, right? Maybe gas is going to be a big thing that you have to take into account, your car, different things like that. So understand your offerings first, then we're going to understand the expenses that are needed in order to run a business with those offerings. Then we're going to identify what the revenue goal is, which meaning a lot of you already stated your revenue goals here today. From that, we're going to break down what is needed from you with those offerings that you have to reach that goal. For instance, let me just throw an example out there. If you have just for simple math, a $10,000 offering, and your revenue goal is $50,000, simple math here, we need to sell 5 of those offerings in order to reach our $50,000 goal. Or let's say our goal is $50,000 and our offering is $5,000. Then we have to do double the amount of sales in order to reach that goal. Seems pretty simple, right? But a lot of people skip that step of understanding what you actually need in order to reach your revenue goal. Where you say, oh my God, I only need 5? My revenue goal is $100,000, Priscilla. Incredible. Okay, love it. But we have to get really clear on what that is. If you start to understand what your offerings are versus what your goal is versus the expenses that it's going to take to run that business, you might identify that you need to adjust your pricing or the services that you offer in order to meet those goals. We will need to identify where we need to adjust. Is it the goal itself? Is it the pricing? Is it the service in order to like have less clients versus more clients in order to reach our financial goal? But we hold our financial goals at the highest standard, I would say. After we've done this means that we've probably built our budget by now, right? Which we'll walk through. The hardest thing, which I've heard a lot of you say today, is sticking to that budget, setting it, having a system that you check in. You don't have to be as psychotic as me every single morning, but like at least once a week, and saying, am I on budget? Am I under budget? Where do I need to cut? Where can I spend? Where can't I spend? And having the willpower to be aware and make hard business decisions when necessary versus just emotional ones. If you ask anybody on my team, a lot of them come to me and say, can we do this? Can we spend here? Can we do X, Y, and Z? And I'm always looking at the bottom line at the end of the day and saying, no, we can't. We don't have the, like, it's not there. I don't feel comfortable with it. We can do it in a couple months. If we hit this revenue goal, then yes, we can do it. And those are things that we look at. Smart business decisions take the emotion out. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to review our progress on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis. We're going to put that into our beautiful Google Calendars or whatever calendar system that you use. And we're going to make sure that we hold that as a high priority, just as much as we do anything else in our business. Okay. Woof. Any questions? Gab, are there any questions in the chat?
Yes. So the most recent question, when adjusting your pricing, how much research should you do before adjusting? Or do you just experiment with the price adjustments and see what happens?
Well, I would say you need to analyze everything before you just make a rash decision. What I typically see is you have to make sure first and foremost that you're getting paid for your time, energy, and your effort, and you're not losing money by doing this business. So if the numbers don't match up with the current service that you're offering, you might not be meeting the market well, to be honest. So you need to really analyze what your business is, what your offerings are, in order to make sure that you're going to meet the market well, and there will be a need for what you have. And if so, then you need to go into it confidently. I see people that perform the same service, but some charge $100 and some charge $1,000. And there's always going to be a market for both of those. The other thing to analyze is who is actually your target audience at the end of the day, because the target audience for $100 service versus $1,000 service for the same one is going to be a completely different target audience, more than likely. So you need to say, do I want to work with that potential target audience, and make the adjustment there as well. Cool.
Cool. There's one other question I'm seeing. So it says, I'm assuming the revenue goal is gross. And do you also decide on what your margin will be when making those goals?
100%. So I typically will know exactly what number we're trying to get to, and it'll always change more than likely. And we'll see it whenever we go into the next kind of exercise of saying, like, you need to make sure that you're not just breaking even, right, on this business, unless like the goal is to like break even, run it for like a super like low like operating expenses in order to, you can build brand recognition in order to like sell one day. But that's typically not where I see a lot of entrepreneurs, like their focus being. You're typically in it because you want to be in this business and it's your baby, and like this is all you want to do. So whenever we look at things like that, we will maybe adjust some goals here and there, but you definitely want to be making a profit. How much profit you want to make is completely up to you. I like to make a good margin, so that I can reinvest into myself and in my business. Any other questions, Gab?
Yes, just got a new one. How do I attract or target my target audience?
Well, that's a completely different conversation. But it's really good questions to be asking yourself. Got to be aware, number one, of who they are. You got to be aware of what their pain points are and the transformation that you're going to give them, in order to be able to speak to them in a manner that they need. In short, okie dokie. Let's move and groove, shall we? Let's look at the books. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this really simple business budget template that I have and I use for a lot of clients that don't want to use something like QuickBooks or FreshBooks, and we're just trying to get an understanding of like, where's the money, honey? And we'll look at it that way. So can we see this here? Okay, cool. So I filled out a couple different things, but I'm going to walk you through what this spreadsheet is. And then if you want this spreadsheet after this, I'm going to give it to you for showing up for yourself today, but I'll have to basically make a copy of it and send it to you and all this stuff. So you can just email probably Gabby, and we'll get that over to you. So essentially, this is what I look at. There's going to be 4 different tabs down here. You have financial overview, which is kind of like our cash flow projector of what we'll look at. The credit card breakdown, if you have a business credit card, we're going to like categorize those expenses separately, because that's not part of your cash flow. Your credit card payment is going to be part of that, but we'll put that over in this column here, or this tab. Revenue streams is going to be the other thing that I was talking about. And then payment tracker, so you're aware of how everything's going. Now, there are 12 million different like tools and resources that automate all of this good stuff. But if you're being savvy and you're like, girl, I do not have the money for that, this is something, no excuses, that you can do, okay? So financial overview, just to give you this idea. So we're going to look at, remember, the fixed cost that we talk about and the variable cost. Now, these 2 columns here are where I'm building my budget, right? So I need to understand, what are those monthly fixed costs that I have to run my business? And maybe let's say I spend $1,000 on my credit card. Oh, all of a sudden $1,000 shows up down here. Let's say my rent is another $600. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? $600 for rent for your little studio is what I'm talking about. Maybe not in LA. So $600 for your rent. Let's say, oh, we have that Zoom account, right? That Zoom account cost us, I don't even know how much it costs anymore. What, $49? So you see all of these adding up, right? What you'll want to do is that you'll want to say, okay, now payroll is going to be another expense for your business. If you don't take anything else from this conversation today, please, dear God, separate your personal and your business finances, okay? So do not have your personal funds running through your business and your business funds running through your personal. It's going to give you the biggest headache at the end of the year, and you're never going to be able to identify how your business is actually doing. You're just like paddling to like survive at that point, right? But you can still do that even if you have to pay yourself nearly every penny from your business account. I want you to start getting into that habit. So payroll, if we think of it yourself, let's say I know my personal expenses and I know I need to pay myself geez, at least $3,000 every month, right? That's like minimum in order for me to like survive on all these personal expenses that I have. Now, also ask yourself, could any of those personal expenses be a business expense too? Okay. So maybe you have an assistant, you hired that virtual assistant, she's just like killing it. You go, girl. She's $250. You have that, you hired that bookkeeper from QuickBooks, she's $300 a month. Okay. All right. So if this is everything that it took to run my business, it would cost me around $5,200 a month to run my business. Meaning, in order to break even, I need to make $5,200 a month. Making sense? Okay. Then we can say, oh, but oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I have all these other variable expenses. This isn't all it takes to run my business, right? So maybe I have that variable marketing expense, right? And I'm going to give myself $200 a month to market my business in various different ways. And I'll choose how I do that. So, okay, going up, going up, going up. So all of a sudden it maybe, let's just say shipping is $1,000. I don't know, you have this other expense. Let's say we get to $63.99. Okay. So if we look at $63.99 and I multiply that by 12, all of a sudden my cost to run my business are 70, and I'm just going to put this here for the sake of time. This times 12 is $76,000. So if your goal was to make $50,000, all of a sudden it just cost you nearly $25,000 to run this business. You are not profitable. Your goal should actually be like at least, is there any more zero? Yeah, at least $100,000, because there's going to be a lot of things, right, that you didn't expect that pop up throughout the year that we have to be prepared for, like taxes and like that car breaking down and like whatever, right? So we say, okay, in order for all of these expenses to happen, then I know I need to at least to break even, make $76,000. Okay. Then I should be looking at, what do I want my business to profit for the year? Because that profit is what we're going to be able to take to roll over and reinvest into the business. Or, I mean, you could take it out and take a trip to, Hawaii, whatever you want to do. It's your business. Do what you want. But I would say, like, I would probably take that and I would reinvest it into the business. So say, how can we take it to the next level? How can I now take that and use $23,000 as a runway to enhance my business next year, to make it even better? How could I take $23,000 and turn it into $200,000? Right? And that's what we take, and then we reinvest in different ways. A new revenue stream, maybe a new offering, marketing, in order to take that current offering that killed it this year and take it to the next level. Right? So, I hope all of this is making sense. I'm super passionate about it. So it's just awareness, right? So you can put all of these things in here. Even if you look at QuickBooks, their budgeting is pretty similar to like a spreadsheet here. What it's really going to help you with is that like month over month, week over week, filing those expenses, understanding the categories where all of your expenses are coming in, and where you're maybe spending too much as well. Okay. So whenever we look at that, that's a good way to automate this simple budgeting. Then stick to it. That really is going to be the key here, and make smart business decisions every step of the way. I use the credit card breakdown to understand everything that I'm spending on our business credit card, to where I'm hyper aware of the business credit card expenses too. And then I know that typically month over month, we're spending X amount on the credit card. So my credit card payment, I'm going to budget for every single month in order to not build up too high of a, what is the word?
Balance.
Thank you. A+, 2 stars, gold stars, a balance on that card. So where we're paying it off, but we're using the credit card to work for us in our business to build points, travel, to whatever. Okay. Revenue streams is where we're going to say, oh shit, we need to make $100,000 and not $50,000. And the current offerings that I have, I'm going to work myself into the absolute ground to make $100,000. Something needs to shift, probably your offerings, because you know that you have to make $100,000. Okay. That pricing is not in line. Okay. This happens nearly every single time I sit down with a client. We start to guess what their pricing is going to be, and then we look at how much it's going to take to run their business, and all of a sudden we typically double what they're charging, because I see this all the time, and a lot in women, that you try to undervalue what you're putting out there, and you have to value it, and it comes from the awareness of understanding. Like, it'll give you a lot of confidence to say, I can't give you a discount, girl. Like, this is my best pricing because I have to run my business, and I got a lot of expenses in order to do that too, right? It's not just the time, it's everything it takes me to do to run this business in the back end too. Alrighty, payment tracker. I like to see what I'm like, where my cash flow, this is kind of revenue tracker, cash flow projector as well, to say in January, what's everything I booked. I like booking a lot of retainer type stuff, to where everything is, I'm rolling that over every single month, and I know where I'm building, to where, like, right now in November, I know my cash flow projections through the end of Q1, to where I know, okay, we're good, we're solid, like, we got the runway, we have everything locked in. Now, how can we grow? Okay. All righty, my loves. This is fun. Everybody else having a good time? Wow. All right. Yes. Love it. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to present. So just for the sake of our time and questions. So in review, I just want to give you, Aaliyah, you're stressed. No stress, girl, no stress. So in review, identify your offerings, identify the expenses in order to run a business with those offerings, identify what your revenue goal is. Maybe it's got to change. Break down what's needed from you with the offerings that you have in order to reach that goal. Adjust your pricing or services if needed, which you might see, girl, is needed. Stick to your budget, stick to it, and make smart business decisions if needed. You might need to stick to it, but you also might need to make some pivots, and that's okay too. But do it from like a business perspective, not an emotional perspective. Review your progress daily, if like you really want to get a gold star from me, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly. Okay. All right, let this sit in. If you don't have a plan to make money, you have a hobby and not a business. Oof, okay, I know that's a little harsh, but it's true, right? And it just takes time. I promise you, if you sat down today for not even a whole day, for a couple hours, and you did this, you would have a plan, baby. Maybe that revenue isn't coming in tomorrow, but you have the plan on when it is going to come in. You know what you need to make. You know where you need to push in business. You're smart, okay? Oh,